All right, welcome to episode 2 of the Check 2 Studios podcast. I'm your host, Austin, and I'm here with.
Trevor. That's me. So, what are we talking about today?
Well, Trevor, I think we're going to talk about one of the commercials that we produced.
One of those. Would you say it is the palm reading insurance agent, Madam Liability?
Well, since you already dropped it on them, why don't you go into it? This is a commercial for an insurance company,
Well, it's an insurance agency.
an insurance agency. So let's talk a little bit about some other insurance agencies that have large budget commercial projects out there, like Progressive,
State Farm,
Geico.
the Geico Lizard. So, they have big budgets. Everybody's heard of these. They can't get away from them on TV, digital, side of buses, stadiums.
So this commercial that we've produced is for a much smaller.
Little small town neighborhood agency, independent agency that's trying to compete with these really big budgets. So we wanted to make something funny, iconic, create some curiosity, and we had a really great concept thought up by our director of photography himself, Austin. Tell us how you came up with that.
We were at Starbucks, and I said I have a funny idea for an insurance commercial, and then you went out and you pitched it to an insurance agent, and they went for it.
I said, "Hey, I know somebody who I think could really benefit from this, and let's see if we can do it." And we did it.
You,
You be the
without,
judge.
without further ado, we'll just let it play out for them.
Yep.
So here it is.
Welcome to Madam Liability's palm reading and car insurance. What do you want?
We were in an accident. Yeah. How did you know?
You just said it when we walked in the door.
Are we covered?
No.
If you buy your insurance online, who knows who your agent might be? Have the advisors
there
at
we
Wayne
go.
Anthony Insurance in Viera review your coverage today. Unless you like risk.
Unless
Wayne
you like
Anthony
risk.
Insurance, the right agency with the right coverage for you.
And you should definitely buy your insurance from them.
Ba 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 ba.
The music really brings it home.
Madam, I do like risk. I like Madam Liability.
That's true. You do like risk.
Let's get a shot of this Madam Liability here at the end. Look at this. Wow, Trevor.
It's very inviting. She's a palm reader, moonlighting as an insurance agent.
All right. So how do you want to break this down?
I want to know. We see this scene right here. We see some crazy red stuff. We see stuff going on in the background. How do you light a scene like that?
I showed up and it just looked like that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Let's see that. Let's pull the curtain back.
You want to pull the curtain back. So let's talk a little bit about. We found a location to film this in,
Yep.
and it's already a store, and it's a store that's known in the area called
Mrs. Mango and Company.
Mrs. Mango's. Is what people. That's what you'll hear on the streets. It's got street cred, Miss Mango's.
It definitely does. People know about it. Not a lot of people have necessarily gone in there, but people definitely know about it. And it's small.
It's small, but it's got the magic.
It's a shack on the side of the road next to the train tracks. It's been there for a long time.
No, I don't want you guys to think that Trevor is saying that negatively,
No,
because that's
it's-
part of the allure
It's
of this.
very endearing.
It's a great place. They sell like herbs, local honey, remedies. They peddle wares. That's
They
what
do. Yeah, no, it's definitely like the games where it's like old timey and there's magic and stuff, and you would need to go into these places to buy potions.
Oh, like what you buying?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
you go in and like that.
This is the place. This is the modern day version of you're just like a traveler.
It's like in Legends of Zelda. You go into a cave and there's a guy there's like ready to sell you some stuff.
But you just walk in, you start breaking pots instead of like.
Well, in the original Zelda, you couldn't do that. So basically, this is that store. I'm pretty sure Zelda shops here, or
Yeah.
not Zelda. Link does when he's
Link.
on a quest to save Zelda. But I digress. So we went for a highly stylized look. One of the inspirations for this scene comes from Pee Wee's Big Adventure when he goes into the psychic, and he's looking for his bike, Madame Ruby.
Madame Ruby. That's what you called them the whole time until the talent actually showed up and she named herself Madam Liability.
Stroke of genius. And see, that's just many of the ways that your actors can add to your production.
Yeah.
We weren't going to have the person with the name. So we went out, we we had the idea for the commercial. We found this neon palm reading sign. We bought that, and we brought that in, and that color scheme kind of motivated the rest of the shocks. We have these blue letters here, which if you want to believe that this hair light is just purely that blue lettering, you're welcome to believe that. And if you want to believe that all this redness over here comes from that hand, that's how we did it.
That's how it's done.
We only used, that's it. This is lighting the whole scene right here. And there's a mirror over here bouncing back for the key. That's not true. Let's talk about what we used here. We used a lot of different lights. Actually, let's go ahead and have a behind the scenes photo of what this place kind of looks like normally.
There we go. Fully lit during the day, just windows, wall to wall.
We show up,
stuff.
it looks like this. You see some equipment here. That's not normally. We've got some C stands and some stuff.
Yeah, we're just getting ready to load out. Ooh, you know what we should have too is the time lapse.
Oh, that's
Shoot
true.
that
If you want to
time
airdrop
lapse.
that to me, I don't have it. But we can just go through the. There's a time lapse on our Instagram of before and after.
Yeah, it's
We'll
on
just
the-
kind of go through the behind the scenes photos. So this is what it looks like when you show up. And then I started putting lights. Here's me getting going. Actually,
There it
this is a fair bit into it already. You see some red and some different things going on. But this behind the scenes shot I'm about to pull up right now gives you a lot more insight into what's going on. So I'm behind the counter now. I'm behind where Mrs. Liability would be. She'd be standing right here. And this Aperture 120D has a red gel on it. And that is what is producing. Believe it or not, all of this red is all coming from that Aperture 120D.
One LED spotlight.
And
Without,
then
actually, it doesn't have the Fresnel on it, right? It just has the...
there's no Fresnel. It's just got the beauty dish, whatever you call that, the little dish attachment. And it's got some barn doors. And it's holding a red gel. And it's filling up that entire space with that red light. Except for what's coming from that hand on the palm reading sign, which isn't a lot. And we put that right, there's a refrigerator right there behind Miss Mingos, and that's hanging on that. So you see this 120D, I've got a C-stand here, and I've got this is what we're using as that blue kind of kicker rim light that's showing off behind her. That's lighting up her hair.
It's a Kane Bolton 55.
That is what it is. And I'm running the power right now. What I'm running is I'm actually running it. I'm taping to the ceiling, just gaffer taping light up so that can be completely hidden. And here's another. Here it is from the front of the counter. You see my goofy self there, taping stuff to the ceiling. So right to the right here is where that 120D is. It's spilling all this red light around. And there, this is what I'm taping up there now. Is that 55-watt Bolton to give that blue effect. And we can see our talent is now on set.
Yep.
And she's getting prepared. Now, this window over here, we had to cover that eventually. It's very bright coming in, so it's not quite the full effect yet. So just moving right along through the behind the scenes. There we go. Here's me kind of getting the shot. So you see, if you can see past all of this foreground here, you can see the shot starting to come together back there.
That's right. Talent's starting to show up. We're talking to them about their lines, getting in the mode to be ready to deliver this piece.
100%. So she's back there, and you can see she's already started that blue light is already hitting. She's got light colored hair, and as you can see here, it's starting to look like what we're going for. She's got that blue light coming on. We've got her lit up.
Mm-hmm.
So we toyed around with the idea of just having it be red and blue, but I felt it's a commercial. We needed to have the actors lit with a more natural light.
Yeah.
And there is a lamp on the table here, which I wanted to use as a practical. I'm not sure if you can see it in this shot. Let me see. It's right there. It's a little lamp, and I thought that would be a great way to motivate some light that's here. And I could never get that thing to turn on. I don't know if they didn't have any power right there, but I could never get that lamp to turn on. But we were also crunched for time. Otherwise, that would have been a good way of going about it. So we couldn't. So looking back at the scene now, this is the final scene. There's that lamp. We never got that to turn on. So we actually made a little boo-boo in this commercial. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, it's not in this shot, but
Well, it's not in any one single shot.
right,
It's a continuity problem.
right. We want to have continuity between as we switch sides, and usually we try to start with a wide so people can get settled in with where they are located. But in this, everything was so tight, and because you're on the opposite side of a counter, you can't really necessarily get a wide that makes a lot of sense without seeing lots of things you don't want to see. So when we started with the tight here, it was still, the sun was up, and you saw all those windows. There was no way we were blocking all those
Right, so
windows.
you see here, we've got that. We found this shop just had a ton of stuff in it.
Right.
We found like a shawl or something. It was there. We just put it over
That's
the window.
true. Well, you blocked that window behind her, but I'm talking about the window that's in front of her. It's
Oh,
all
the one
windows
that's behind.
Right, but it's in front of. It's facing Madam Liability right
so
now.
she actually has a key light too. She has a panel
Right now she
with
does,
some diffusion. Yeah,
but she also has a ton of light just hitting her.
yeah. So I mean, we still have a good ratios here. As you see, this side of the face, we're getting brighter. This side's, and that's where the continuity comes in. So with our shot of Madam Liability, the reverse shot, and we'll see if people catch this.
Yeah. So now the key light.
Hold on, don't give it away just yet. So I'm not sure. Of course, non-filmmaker, nobody's pointed this out except for
Filmmakers.
filmmakers and like advanced filmmakers that are used to lighting sets.
Yeah.
You're not talking like the beginners that just go out with the camera and get what they get. But yes, for those of you that have already seen it, the key light has flopped. In this shot, the key is on the left, hitting the talent from the left. So in this shot, they should be lit from the right. However, they are also lit from the left.
Mm-hmm.
So the key light flips. And we knew about this on set, but we just this building has AC, but their window units are very loud, so we had to turn them off.
Very loud.
It's very tight quarters, and I was trying to place. This is the first shot. We got this angle first. We got this angle, and then we went to the reverse shot.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we got to this reverse shot, there's a top. You can't see it here, but there's a top over the counter. And right over his head, there's a big reflector there now. Let's see if I can find a behind the scenes of that.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
There's a...
long story short, that little area is very small to be able to fit things in.
Yeah, I'm
and
gonna
reach
pull
across.
up. I'm gonna pull this one up because it kind of shows. This I don't have the reflector there. I don't know what I'm doing here. My crazy face.
Which you're doing in every behind the scenes shot if you know there's a picture being taken.
Yeah, no. So right here, there's this canopy that sits over the counter, and in that particular shot, when we went to the reverse shot, we had put a reflector up there because it was very tight to get lights in. Let me see if I can actually find.
There will be some. Let's look for the later numbers.
I'm going down through here and see what I can find here.
But you can see how big the desk is between them, and just that whole area is very wide as far as how large the desk and the surrounding part is.
Here we go.
And so you can't just fit things in on either side.
Here is a behind the scenes of the reverse shot. So you see, we're doing the same thing. We've got a panel. We're gelling it blue. We're giving them a kicker. We've got the red to keep continuity. And here's that reflector that's wedged up in that canopy.
Mm-hmm.
And the trouble was, in such tight quarters, wherever I put a key light, it's gonna get that closest person. It's just gonna cook them, and gets dangerously close to blowing over the highlights. If I go to reverse shot, you see she's completely in shadow, and I was trying to bounce off that reflector, and no matter where I did it in that tight quarters, I could not. I mean, I probably could have stopped. I could have said, "Okay, hold on, we've got a problem, and I want to fix this," but it was so hot.
It was getting late. It was getting hot. By this point, they had been there quite some time.
So I had to make the executive decision to be like, the keys flopped. However, in this crazy, very busy location, there's a lot going on. And as long as I made continuity of the direction of the shot, I made the decision that it wasn't gonna ruin the piece, and it was gonna bug maybe filmmakers, but it wasn't gonna devalue the piece in any way.
My question is, in the very first shot,
Right.
why not key her from the other side so that the broadside is lit?
So there's a wall here.
So, because she's all the way up against it.
And we really wanted to get that palm reading sign. So the angle I'm shooting at, all of that was, there were several key things. If I were only caring about her, I could do a ton of different stuff. But there's actually a wall here. Let me see if I can find. I'll pull this behind the scenes photo back up. So see
There it
this
is.
wall here. So to key her from the other direction, it would have put a shadow right down the side of her face, or it would have been super close. Which with like I said, the closer you get your key light, because of the inverse square law, the fall off is so much greater. The farther back the key light is, the more gradual the fall off. So the more consistent. So you really, in tight quarters, you run into issues. But I don't want to get down. I don't want to get down on us because I really like the piece, and I think that despite that one little flub up,
I'm still not sure how much of the key light is lighting her in this shot. In this shot, I feel like most of her light is coming from ambient because of those
outside.
windows.
But yeah, that's another reason. So I could have tried to key her from the other side, but all the light coming in through the windows,
You would have had to overpower
she
it.
would that, and she would have just then it would have started getting
Super
in the
flat.
background, and it just would have pretty. You eventually you start chasing your tail.
Right.
I
okay.
bring up the key, then the background's getting spill, then I'm bringing the background reds up. I'm doing all this stuff, or I'm trying to bring in negative fill, and pretty soon we'd have a world of equipment in this tiny little place. And at the end of the day, we had a couple of hours to shoot this. It was majorly hot. The actors were, they were very good sports about it, but we were all sweating. We were all very, very warm. And we just had to go. So let's talk about the positives. Because of it's such a busy scene. The place is just full of, it's an eclectic mix of herbs and there's Ouija boards and crystals and crystal balls and all this stuff that's in this incredibly cool place that when you cut back and forth, it just works. It's clearly
you're
the
taking
same
it all in.
location, Another thing, I had a little LED light in this crystal ball. I forgot.
I
about that.
thought you were gonna keep some secrets.
Oh, you're right.
Just
Never
between
mind.
us.
Nothing to see here. Pay no attention to the man named Trevor behind the curtain over there. No, I put a little light here. I get these little iPhone. They're you clip them to your iPhone.
Allegedly.
They're $11. I don't know if anybody really does. And yeah, I keep some of those in my bag. Sometimes I stick them places. A little $11 light.
We have a whole stash of them.
So now that we've put out our flopped key situation, I love this dolly forward with her.
Yeah, you pulled that off. They'll slide in, and then you also punched in post.
Camera movement's so important to telling the
Yeah.
story. Like, this is where it gets tense, You can't just shoot on a tripod. You got to motivate the movements. Let me bring it up. You see, he's coming in.
Are we covered?
So there's a slight dolly in
No.
with him. And then
No.
her
The
reaction.
disappointment. Anybody who's married has seen a face like that pretty regularly. Or maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Just you.
Just me.
You're the only one.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, I think that really drives it home. That's the funny part. How can we make insurance interesting? How can we make this shareable and worth, have it something people are talking about and really brand the company, the agency?
Just for fun, we'll bring some more behind the scenes. There's some behind the scenes that really show you like how tight of quarters these are. So
There you go.
even though we flipped the key, you still see it was still no easy feat coming off this reflector, lighting them, trying to get it in, and trying to get some light over to her without blowing the highlights on him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a challenge. And we've got just a ton of behind the scenes here. I'm going to show. There's some that just show like how tight the filming quarters really were in this arrangement.
Yeah, we had a large C-stand right behind them, which you could barely walk behind them, let alone put a C-stand. And at one point, I was on this side, trapped on where this photo's being taken from, trying to get by the C-stand. I got by it just fine after I set it up, and a train or something came by and knocked this massive C-stand onto all that stuff you saw in one of those other pictures. And we thought for sure all the money we were going to make on this was going to be paid for all the broken things we just
destroyed.
caused. Right, but nothing broke. Literally not a single thing broke.
They sell quality stuff there,
Well, every single thing is literally like ceramic and glass.
but it's quality.
Well, and somehow that massive 60-pound C-stand with a light on it did nothing. Just bounced.
It just bounced off. So in this scene, you can just see the dense quarters C-stands going every which way, panels all over. We had her blue light up there. We had me back there. You know, luckily we were using small cameras to do this stuff.
Yeah.
But it just goes crazy. It just gets out of hand real quick. So that's why, like I said, when you make decisions, you make sacrifices. Remember what I told you earlier? We saw that I found that light. I was watching Back to the Future 3 last night, and we saw that light when I was watching it. I sent you that, right?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. So stuff happens. You do your best.
You got to
And-
plan as much as you can, and then there's still some things you just got to be able to think on the fly. And then there's some things that, as much as we don't want to do it, we end up having to compromise on.
I'm telling you though, like, I'm just so happy with the way this came out.
Yeah, and it's got a great reception. People have really loved it. The client loved it. It's really going to help them have a brand image for an industry that is really a commodity, because it's hard to separate yourself. So
The piece is out into the world now. We got it up on Facebook. We got it shared in a lot of groups. We got it. We got a pretty good organic reach because the piece was funny. Check it out. See it right there. When you watch
hiding
this scene
in the
back.
actual movie.
It's not turned on. It's just a a stage light right there. And
That's
this
crazy.
is supposed to be 1885. So presumably this light that's lighting him here, that's giving them all this edge light, presumably in some of the other tights, so he's closed up on dock, that this light would be serving a similar purpose to that. And they turned it off because it's a wide, but they didn't. The gaffer didn't get in there and move it out.
Move it.
No, nobody went in there and got it. So things happen, but at the end of the day, you've got to make a good-looking piece. It tells a good story. It's funny, and it serves the client well. And I think we achieved that with flying colors, reds, blues,
All the colors.
daylight balanced, tungstens.
That's right, and their skin tones still look good. I think that was definitely a good choice. I don't know. Is there anything else to ramble on about for this? You know, we put all of our warts out there, made it very obvious.
Well, I think it's important to let people know, like, you go out and you do your best. But if you're thinking about this kind of thing, it's like I said in episode 1, it's important to know the rules and then know when you can kind of bend them a little bit, or when you're forced into a corner, what can you do? When is it okay? If it's a really dense scene like that, is anybody going to really notice if a key flips? And another thing we can talk about real quick is that it's always important to take some stills when you have the lighting set up for your client. So I just took this. If our client wants to do a print ad, I have a high res still here, Madam Liability, that we can, she can use that, or we can use it.
Help them with future campaigns, because that's the whole idea too. We don't want this to be a one and done. We want to continue to drive revenue and have this campaign be something that they really benefit from.
I think you're right.
That's right. Well, what do you think? Wrap it up?
We've gone about 24 minutes on 30-second spot, so I think anybody can look at this and kind of maybe it gives them some ideas on how to be creative with the lighting, or you wouldn't do this for any piece. This fits the palm reading. Like, presumably this lady set up her palm reading studio / car insurance, so it fits. You can't just light any scene like this. It wouldn't make any sense.
That's true.
And the sign motivates the lighting. So I think those are the key points. It fits, the lighting fits the situation. We did use this practical here, this palm reading sign, to kind of motivate some of the lighting, although it's a little outrageous to believe that might be doing that, but at least it fits. Or presumably she's put some mood lighting into her studio because she's doing palm readings here and selling car insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And her coverage is shoddy, which is reflected.
That's right.
Actually, I flipped the key on purpose because I wanted to, it's subtle. What I wanted to do was I wanted to say, like,
Not
look,
buying it.
look,
I'm not buying it.
you get your palm reading done here and buy your car insurance from a lady that's got her key flipped. You wouldn't do that. Then I guess there's one more shot. We also have this drone shot here at the end. There's nothing really to talk about, but
Anybody could do this. No lights.
are you kidding me? I used the ultimate light. I used the sun.
Have the advisor advisors at Wayne Anthony Insurance in Viera review your coverage today. Unless you
And that's how we wrap it up. We showed the building. Of course, you got your card. I flew. That was just the Mavic Pro.
The best Mavic.
My Mavic, they sent me by accident a Mavic that was not scheduled for release. Has a little extra mojo in it.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about that another time.
We'll keep that one under wraps. We don't want somebody trying to.
But I went out with a slider. I did 4 shots of this building. I did it, and I wasn't gonna do a drone shot. I think I even
know.
told you I was gonna put the slider.
You told me.
And I was gonna come around the bushes, and I was gonna do this with a lot of foreground. And I went out there, and then I flew the drone as an afterthought. And I sent you all 3 of the shots, and of course you chose this one.
I didn't choose it. Everybody chose it. I showed this to the client.
That's not true.
It's true.
Don't listen to him. Either way, I didn't put all my eggs in one basket. I went out and I flew the drone. I got a good shot. So Trevor can shut the hell up.
That's right. So
That's right. You can't.
So where can they find us?
So,
Check 2 Studios.
Check 2 Studios podcast. If you're listening to and watching on YouTube, where can they find the podcast?
That's a good question.
This is new. We just started this pod. This is episode 2.
Episode dos.
DOS prompt.
I don't know where they can find us. Probably iTunes and other places. Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor.
SoundCloud.
No, not SoundCloud.
Why not SoundCloud?
Because SoundCloud's dying. That's the word on the street.
What?
Just for podcasts.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And YouTube. If you're not watching this,
Yeah.
you're really missing out.
So yeah. So if you found this as a podcast and you're wondering
What are they talking about?
what is all this they're talking about, maybe you're just a filmmaker driving in your car. You want to learn some of the lingo and you're listening to this. Good thing to do, but you should really drop on by the YouTube. Check 2 Studios. Check out our work. Check out the lighting.
Yep.
Put a face to the name.
And who produced this? What company is this?
Our forward-facing company, the company our clients see, the people they hired to do this video, is Ideal Impact Media.
That's right. It's a commercial brand.
So if you happen to not be a filmmaker and you just somehow found this and watched it and you need a commercial or you need brand storytelling, you need something for your business to get the message out. Who you going to call, Trevor? Who would you call?
I would call Ideal Impact Media.
And like, what would a
And
person...
the Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Well, who are you going to call? The Ghostbusters? Of course. So after you get off the phone with the Ghostbusters, they're ready to believe you. You can call us and we're ready to tell your story through
That's
the
right.
magic.
You can also find us
Film.
on Patreon to continue to support us. We really blew our budget on these mics for just this purpose. So if you want to support us, we can continue to do this and help us not be murdered by our wives and have that look of disappointment. You can check out the Patreon if this has been a big help to you. We might set up a website for Check 2 Studios. I don't know, but we also have a Facebook group. So we'd love to hear from you. We want your feedback. Give us 6 stars on iTunes. You can do that, right? 7 stars. Okay, give us 7 stars on iTunes. If it only lets you give 5, then we'll settle for that.
Call tech support if there's not enough stars.
Yeah, 7 stars. But I think that's where we're at.
What do we do at Check 2 Studios?
Check 2 Studios. We
We shoot first
ask questions later.
and we ask questions later. That's a wrap.